Handgun hunting with the Glock? You've got to be kidding me. I was taking some ribbing after I posted my video showing off the Glock 20 Gen 4, which is chambered in 10mm auto, and I was showing you the difference in recoil, or my perceived felt recoil, with just the lone wolf barrel and putting a compensator on it. And I closed with a comment to the effect that I'll be using this up on the hunting property, and a few of my friends found that amusing. I thought I'd cover a few things here regarding handgun rounds and cartridges, and just where this 10mm round falls in the pecking order. Hold on. There is a great website, free, and it's shooterscalculator.com. I do some hand loads and I measure the muzzle velocity. So when I know the mass of the bullet and the muzzle velocity, I can calculate the muzzle energy. It's not necessarily knockdown power. I'm not a fan of trying to figure out just what that is, but nonetheless, this website will help you at least calculate the muzzle energy of the given weight of the bullet moving at a certain velocity leaving the barrel, and then allows you to compare them. So with that data in hand, I'll do some yakking. Hold on. I should have added that the website goes on to say that, let's look at the chart here, the kinetic energy of a bullet is the energy that is transferred to the target when hit. It is also the energy that the shooter absorbs through recoil by shooting. When talking about bullet kinetic energy, the word muzzle energy is often brought up. Muzzle energy is the energy of a bullet right when it leaves the firearm's barrel. Muzzle energy is useful in comparing cartridges, calculating recoil, and stopping power. But as I said, I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. But I thought I'd, for some comparative purposes, enter in what I've got here. I'll show you each. Let me put the paper down and show you the rounds. Just to let you know, velocity is not the end-all when talking about a round. We have the Velocitor 22 long rifle, and the velocity is reported to be, it's not focusing, 1,435 feet per second. But you're only shooting a 40 grain projectile at that speed, and it comes up with a muzzle energy of a whopping 183 foot-pounds. Sarcasm intended. Next up would be the Federal HST 124 grain. That came in at 364 foot-pounds. Then the 9mm plus P gold dot as loaded by Underwood, and it came in at, well, you can see the muzzle velocity at 1225 feet per second. With that grain bullet at that speed, the energy, muzzle energy, was 413 foot-pounds. Next up, a 45 ACP, 45 auto, full metal jacket, 230 grain, as loaded by Underwood, with a muzzle velocity of 1,000 feet per second. Came out to a kinetic energy, or muzzle velocity, I'm sorry, muzzle energy, I'm already going to start messing the terms up, muzzle energy of 511 foot-pounds. I have yet, I'm still trying to procure, I will start loading my own 10mm. I have my 40 Smith & Wesson dies, which I can use in loading 10mm, but I don't have any hand loads to start, so I've got to buy factory loads. And right now Underwood does not have its most potent, in my mind, a 220 grain hard cast flat nose bullet available, so I had to settle for a 180 grain full metal jacket flying along at 1300 feet per second, which this is the 180 grain, so that comes in at 676 foot-pounds. And then the 200 grain jacketed hollow point flying along at 1250 feet per second again comes in at 694. So I've stacked these up in order. This really hot Grizzly cartridge company offering in 357 Magnum is a very hot load. Maybe not appropriate to compare it to that, because you're about the same between a 10mm and a 357 Magnum in terms of velocity and muzzle energy. But this one came in at 180 grain bullet flying along at 1350 feet per second, and that worked out to 729 foot-pounds, so slightly ahead of the offerings here from Underwood. But when you compare it to Underwood's 220 grain flat nose hard cast bullet, that's the muzzle energy is calculated at 703 foot-pounds, so it's very comparable to Grizzly's very hot round. Next in the pecking order would be the 460 Rowland. And here I've got a 255 grain hard cast flat nose from Underwood, 1300 feet per second, and that worked out to be 957 foot-pounds. So we jumped up quite a bit from the 357 Magnum at a little over 700 to 957, talking about the Rowland. And then a very hot 44 mag load. Again, it's a 300 grain bullet flying along at 1325 feet per second. And that knocks the socks off of those guys and comes in at 1,170. So we're stepping it up pretty much. And then I also hunt with a handgun using a offering in 480 Ruger. And this is from Grizzly cartridge, and it's a 425 grain flat nose hard cast bullet traveling at 1200 feet per second, and that works out to be 1,359 foot-pounds. Right next to it's the casing. I haven't reloaded my 475 line ball, but it uses the same bullet as the 480 Ruger, a .475 bullet, but the case length is a little bit longer and allowing you to get a hotter cartridge load. The one I load is a 425 grain bullet, and I've measured the velocity to be at 1300 feet per second, and that comes out with a 1,595 foot-pounds of energy. That actually beats the Blackout in terms of its performance. These are, I do not shoot these out of rifles, the 308 Winchester and the 300 Blackout, but I just again, if I included a 22 long rifle, I thought I'd go the other way. And the 300 Blackout was a 125 grain bullet flying along. My hand loads fly along at 2250 feet per second, and that worked out to 1,405. So that 475 line ball beats it, but there's no comparison in terms of flat trajectory. My Blackout easily reaches out to 200 yards and more, but my shots on the hunting property would be 200 yards. And I would I'd get an 8 inches of drop using that 475 line ball at 200 yards. And then lastly, the 308 Winchester. Again, this is the 178 grain load offering from Hornady, and it is flying along at 2,600 feet per second with a muzzle energy of 2,672 foot-pounds. Thanks for watching.